light, and love, everybody. Welcome to the official launch and debut of Libationz Conversationz. I am your host, Life. Thank you for joining us today on the platform. I'm excited to have everybody here today. This has been a long, anxiously anticipated debut. I just want to thank each and every one of you guys that have believed and supported me throughout the years, and particularly since the debut of my promo and all the promotion that I've been doing leading up to today. So I just want to say thank you to you, and you. This would not be possible without you guys. So first and foremost, we're always about raising the frequencies and vibrations here on Libationz Conversationz to share with you guys who I am and what the platform is all about. I'm the creator of the show. I am a bartender by trade. I've been in the business for about 8 years now, particularly specializing in mobile bartending. I am a lover of mixology and all things cocktails, mocktails, and such. So I would like to share that with you guys. This is an all-inclusive platform, so you do not have to indulge in adult beverages. All are welcome. On Libationz Conversationz, we are all about pouring back into each other and spreading love out into the atmosphere, and particularly first and foremost the DMV area. You got to start from where you come from, right? So we got to start by spreading love here, and then we're going to pay it forward outside. So I have a special guest joining us today, but we're going to get into that. We have a special guest joining us today, and I have an extra special guest that will be joining us a little later. Before we get too deep, if you guys have not already hit that subscribe button, please do so. Libationz Conversationz is in the house. Please like, follow, and share. Shout out to my sponsors, Seventh Element Productions. If you're looking for those fire tracks and fire beats, check out Pure Fire with Seventh Element Productions over on YouTube and IG. He's doing wonderful things over there. And a special shout out to my brothers over at the Spliffs and Mischiefs Godcast Camp. They are guerrilla gremlins over there disseminating information and wellness out into the manosphere and to the community. Please support. They are providing a certain level of edutainment, as we like to call it. And I think you'll enjoy what they got going on. So please support, share, love. That's what we do here on the platform. Also, we always repping the DMV, guys. I don't know if you can see, but I'm rocking that 14th Street Graffiti Museum hoodie. You got a copy of merchandise. Definitely always spreading love here on the platform. So without further ado, I brought someone special here for you today. We're all about bringing you quality entertainment. This is a sister friend of mine, hailing all the way from the UAE. She's a friend. She is an educator. She is an author. I like to call her Fly Girl because she's oh so fly, baby. You'll see. But, we're always just bringing you guys something fresh, new, and something inspiring. So without further ado, guys, I would like to introduce my friend, my sister, Miss Alexis Brave.
Thank you for such a warm introduction. It's a pleasure to be on Libationz Conversationz.
Yes, ma'am. And before we unpack, do you have our libations? Okay. All right.
Yes, we do. I am sipping on this Delicious Twinnings Glow strawberry cucumber with green tea and aloe vera.
I love it. And I am sipping on some wonderful chai tea this morning. My sister's hopped on this morning for a special treat, and she's over in the UAE. So it is, I believe, 6-7 hour time difference. So
it's currently 7:04 p.m. over here.
Oh, wow. Okay. Even more than I thought. So we thank you very much. We had to schedule this kind of early on our end so we can get this going. And, we're all about balance here on Libationz Conversationz. So we are going to start off the day with something to get us going, get us all warm. It's fall, So we want to make sure we're putting something good into our bodies so we can generate at a high frequency. Guess we can start off by just telling the people who you are, girl. Who are you? I mean, I know you're a lot of things, but just a quick synopsis of who you are and your background.
Well,
just a little bit.
All right. Well, as you said, my name is Alexis Graves. I am in my 20th year of education. I'm a special educator. Have my master's in special education and 2 bachelor's degree, one in sociology with a minor in criminal justice and my bachelor of social work. I am also an author, a published children's author, as you stated, for Little Miss Bright Eyes. And I am also an entrepreneur. I have recently launched a business called Educating Everywhere.
Guys, I'm telling you, quality. We bringing y'all levels here as layers to the people we bring on. Okay, now that we told the people a little bit about yourself, I guess I'd like to start off with how did you get into becoming an educator? Was it something that was always a passion of yours? Did you grow up in a family of educators? What made you want to get out here with us and teach us how to be a better version of ourselves?
After I finished my second bachelor, I was working as a supervisor at a group home in Pittsburgh. Yeah, so I was, a supervisor, and I'm thinking, fresh out of undergrad, I'm thinking, I kind of I had it. I had a job that had a salary. I had health benefits. I'm thinking I'm doing it. And my sister was kind of like, yeah, it's nice and all that you have a job, but you need a career. Yeah. And even like I tell my students now, I don't know. I didn't know then, and I still kind of really don't know what I want to be when I grow up. So
I can relate.
So, I'm talking this over with my mom and my sister, and my mother is an avid NPR listener.
Okay.
And one day she calls me and was like, Alexis, I know what you need to do. And I'm like, okay, great. Cause I don't, but okay, spill it, And she's like, so I was listening to NPR on my way to work, and they were talking about there is a shortage of teachers, specifically special educators in the world, well, in the US. And I think that's what you need to go and do. Go back to school, get your master's, that's what you need to do. And I was like, special education. And she was like, well, you a little bit touched, so you're probably going to be able to relate. And she was like, you really don't like to work. So, you'll have your summers or you'll get holidays. And she was like, she was like, you love kids. And I was like, okay. So I contacted the school, Seton Hill University, where I'd gotten my bachelor's from, and found out that they had a master's program. Cause I was like, I have severe test anxiety. I do suffer from that. And so I knew I did not want to apply to a graduate program where I would have to take like my GMATs or any type of test to get into the school. So luckily my school had the program, and I was like, all right, sign me up. The funny thing is, my family the majority of them are either teachers or preachers.
Okay.
That never really influenced me, because undergrad, I never saw myself as going into this profession. It really wasn't until I started into my master's program that I realized, like, yo, this education, and specifically special education, this is me.
So it's funny how things come full circle though, right? So it kind of was a little bit of all of that. From your childhood experiences, did you have any experience yourself with special education growing up, outside of just your mom bringing it to your attention, and then also having educators in the family? Was there anything else maybe that led you into that path?
Yeah. When I was in, I think about the second grade, I was, based on whatever test they did in end of grade 1 or whatever, I was identified as a student that was gifted and talented. So I was put into a tag program where we were bused like once a week to another school and had this tag experience.
Yeah.
And that was like the highlight of my educational experience, because truthfully, after kindergarten, I was not interested in school. When the reality hit that we didn't have snack or nap time, and we had to be in school all day, like I was over it. It was not, that wasn't my ministry. And then the fact that my sister is only 2 years older than me and was very studious, is a very driven person. I was compared a lot to her.
Okay.
And so I'm probably sure I kind of exuded already. I have a bit of an attitude. And so when when I was,
let's just flavor. No, let's change the verbiage.
Okay.
Let's just flavor.
I'll take that.
I have flavor. I have flavor. We have flavor,
see,
baby.
I feel like I give you that triple threat, the triple A's: Alexis, Aries, attitude. So, I'm okay with that. I embrace who I am. Well, so as a youngster, that attitude was on full blast.
Okay.
And so to prove to them how much I was not like my sister, I disengaged from school. So I felt that I only went to school to socialize. And my attitude was, I'm not studying, because I go to school and I pay attention. I'll do the homework, but like, if it doesn't stick, it really wasn't meant to be. When my mother moved us from New Kensington which is, kind of like a suburb of Pittsburgh, to Monroeville, which is like the real suburbs, which was in the start of my 7th grade year. They looked at my IQ score and my testing scores, and they looked at my grades, and they were like, well, these don't match, so we can't put her in the gifted program. And at that time, Gateway was tracking students, so you were either in top track, middle track, or low track. And I can honestly say that I had a lot of teachers that were quick to tell me, like, you're not living up to your potential. And, I was at a predominantly white school. So
Okay.
I didn't connect with any of my teachers. They were just some old white folks trying to tell me about myself. And the material that they were presenting was really usually never of interest. So I really only excelled in my English and my social studies classes because
Mhm.
I love that. Hence me going into
Those
sociology.
were some of the interesting classes that you just couldn't escape. The information was interesting, unless you were
And I
just
love to write.
okay. Same here. My experience in school was pretty much the same. I was tagged in elementary school when they were doing those testings, and I was placed in higher reading levels throughout elementary school, and we would sometimes be switched. We had the experience in elementary school to change classes before we actually went to middle school. So I had like early experiences of that. I went to Martin Luther King Academic out here in Beltsville. And at that time, that was like one of those transitioning schools. So we tested from there. And I was bused to that school. So from elementary, we tested out, and I was bused to out of my neighborhood into that school that had a program. I forget what the program was called. And then from there, we tested for what was called a university program. And then I was bused further out where we had a curriculum set up like early college, the way that our classes were shaped, on the premises. And we were dealing with syllabuses, and
Okay,
things of
okay.
that nature early
Gotcha.
before going to college. So yeah, but like you, I was very disinterested early on, lost my interest in school early on. And I think that's only progressed with the children of today,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
especially with the age of social media and things as such. So I think
Definitely.
that's a great segue. You now are a special educator teacher. You took mom's advice, and now we're here, we're in it, right? Did you
Mm-hmm.
start off as a special educator in Pittsburgh? I know you eventually moved to PG County. Where'd you start?
I started in PG County.
Okay.
The program that I graduated from, it was mandatory for us to go to 2 teachers' fairs, and went there. Had my little portfolio that had my little CV in it, and spread it all out. Gave it to so many different schools throughout the U.S. And so I knew that I already knew it. One, I was definitely getting out of Pittsburgh. I was not staying in Pittsburgh. But secondly, and that was also too on the advice of like the president of my college. She was like, "You're young, black, and educated. Like Pittsburgh is still very much old steel mill mentality, and
Mm.
you're bigger than that. So see what's out there." And
Okay.
and it's funny, as I alluded to earlier, I have test anxiety, and to become a teacher, you have to take the praxis.
Yes.
And I passed everything, like the special education portion, flying colors, English, all that with flying colors. But that math, ooh, when I tell you I passed that by the skin of my teeth. I was on the struggle bus. I remember I had Virginia. One of the school districts in Virginia had offered me a contract, but they were like, "We'll only give you a conditional contract because your praxis math score is not that high." And they were like, "But we'll hire you, and then you'll just have to take the praxis again." And I was like, "Well, thank you very much, but no, because somebody's going to take this score and let me roll with it."
I know
So
that's right.
PG County was one of those counties that was, they were interested. And with PG County, you had to come in and interview. Well, at the time I started working there, you had to come and interview at 3 different schools. And I first started off at Bradbury Heights Elementary School.
Okay. Okay. I'm familiar with Bradbury Heights.
Yeah, right there on the border, as I like to call it, the Southeast Extension.
Yes.
So I spent 9 years in PG County working in all Title I schools. I did both elementary and middle school. After I did 3 years at Bradbury Heights and then transferred to Samuel P. Massey, where I was the special ed coordinator, where I had the opportunity to meet you and your
Yes,
family.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that's how we know each other. We'll get into unpacking that a little bit later. But so PG County, you land in PG County as a special educator, and Samuel P. Massey is where we meet. And that was a brand new school, and that was a unique and special school, particularly where it was planted. It was in the heart of Suitland, Maryland.
Socioeconomically depressed. Most were from single parent headed households. Yeah, ticked all those boxes.
Exactly, which I think is a beautiful thing. I think as an educator, if you really, really want to be good at what you do, you need to start with kids that aren't so easy to work with.
Girl,
if you can work with kids like that, you can work anywhere.
And let's be clear, it's not just the children that you're working with, it's the parents. If you can work in that environment,
yes.
And honestly, I feel that the 9 years that I did in PG County were those are some of my best years. Granted, they got me when I was fresh and I wanted to change the world, and I was coming in there to.
I remember that, Lex.
Because you got to remember, I had spent so many years. Now, granted, I did my freshman year at Clark Atlanta University, but I then after my freshman year transferred to Seton Hill, another predominantly white institution. But it was very interesting because I'll never forget when I had a meeting with my I forget. Anyway, like the head of the department, of the education department, and they were like, "Oh, so you've done all these the job fairs, you've had these interviews. I've been trying to hold out, but I wanted to let you know that we've talked to some school districts here in Pittsburgh, and you're a shoo-in, because you're Black, you're female, you speak Spanish, And I was like, oh, so y'all haven't been reading any of the papers that I wrote, because it was all about urban education, and I'm gonna take all this good white knowledge y'all done gave me, and I'm going this away. And I can remember like her face just fell like, what? Like, we about to give you, because truth be told, Pennsylvania has some of the best retirement benefits for teachers. So she was kind of like, why would you leave this? And I'm like, why would I stay? Like, no, my peoples need me. So I definitely came to PG County like ready, open, like just all 10 toes down. I was in it, and I loved it.
And from what I remember of you when we met each other, that's definitely what you were exuding. You were very much like, yes, I'm here for it, I'm here for my people. You've always been, I think that was part of the attraction between me and you also was the fashion, the love for the African diaspora and the fashion and stuff like that. Because my sister, you can see the hair, but you need to see the queen from head to toe, honey. Head to toe, okay? She's giving you all that royalty all day long. Before we get too far out of that, because I do want to ask you about just your experience of working in PG County, but I want to give a special shout out while we're talking to Samuel P. Massey to Sharif Salim, Rhonda Simley, Tyronda Boone. There's a few others. Oh, Nikisha Cousins. I know you're married now, but boo, all of you guys, and there's a few more. Those were some of the great educators that were in Samuel P. Massey, working and loving on our children and helping them be better versions of themselves. So I just want to shout out Samuel P. Massey and the original leadership of Samuel P. Massey.
I'm just gonna say that was I think between Mr. Salim and Mrs. Simley, like they took that school to another level. And not only did they pour into the students, but they poured into us teachers.
Yes.
And they really pushed us and encouraged us to be the best versions of ourselves. Being that now I have taught both in the States and internationally, I feel that a lot of times, like, that's the missing piece. Like, your administration can make or break a school.
I agree. So PG County, and then you make the decision to go overseas and take this thing overseas. So how did you get to that?
I was kind of hoping you was gonna skirt past it. No, it's
No,
okay.
no, no, no.
No,
Because
no, no,
we want,
no.
because also too on the platform here, Libations and Conversations, it's about growth and transparency. And we're all about showing like, a lot of times perception is everything
Whew.
and nothing all at the same time. A lot of times we look and perceive things about people and don't really know the stories and don't even care to know the stories. But we all have a
So true.
story. We all have a journey. We didn't just wake up like this. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you just kind of sharing and being transparent.
Yeah, no, it's kind of funny because I literally, I think it was like, yeah, it was in February. I had went through a bad breakup, found out my partner was cheating on me.
Okay.
And so like I'm devastated. I'm like, questioning everything about my existence. Cause I'm like, how you cheat on me? Like I'm educated, got my own car, got my own spot, like job, no kids. Like what
Like where they do that?
yeah, like how you messing over on me?
Uh-huh.
And so like I literally started, really thinking about what was it in my life that I wanted to do that I hadn't achieved. And one of the things that drew me to that was kind of like another bonus for education, for me to pursue education, was the fact that I was like, well, there are schools all over the world, so I'm never going to be without a job, and I can live anywhere in the world I wanted to. So after that breakup, and like I said, when I was like reflecting, I was like, well, you know what, I'm gonna just flood the internet with my resume and see what sticks. And so I did that, and I started getting hits, because that's one thing about PG County. Not only are you're dealing with so many different populations, and for me, I stuck with the Title I schools, but it was a great place for professional development. So, like you got a highly qualified teacher in me, and I didn't realize how much of a hot commodity that was around the world. So I remember I got a contract with a school in Kuwait, and I was like, yep, I'm gonna go to the Middle East. And I had a former coworker who had worked in Kuwait. And so like I'm, in her ear, like, okay, give me the lowdown. And she like, well, girl, it's a dry country, but
Excuse me.
and I'm like, oh, what? Okay. I'm like, all right. And but I had applied to some other schools. I had went to New York for an interview with ADIC. At the time, it was called Abu Dhabi Education Council.
Okay.
And had my interview, was kind of like, oh, wow, this is great. But, it wasn't like they called me back the next day. So it just was interesting because that was the year that I had made my first trip to Africa. And like 2 days into the trip, I'm like, let me check my emails. Cause, I don't know, Attic might call or send an email, or Kuwait might need something. And open up my email, and all I see is congratulations. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So now I'm like,
it's real.
Hold up. I mean, I just signed this contract with the school in Kuwait, and now Abu Dhabi calling, and I'm like, I don't even know what to do. And my best friend was sitting there like, okay, but if you go to Kuwait, the salary is not that great, but you do know that there's tutoring opportunities. And she was like, so basically, you're gonna be doing the same thing you was doing in PG County, just international, because you're gonna be tutoring and working a full-time job, versus if you go to Abu Dhabi, you got this nice salary that you ain't gonna have to do. All you gotta focus on is teaching. I'm like, okay. Then I
just dealt with PG County. Am I ready? UAU, Kuwait.
and the funny thing is like, but my family was kind of like, you going where? And I'm like, yeah, like we gonna see, like, nah, chill, like I'm gonna make this happen. And decided to come to the UAE. And I did 5 years in Abu Dhabi working for ADIC, which was like teaching in the public schools. Here again, I say teaching in Title I schools came in handy because the children that I was dealing with, like I taught grades 1 and 5. I did grade 1 for 2 years, and then did grade 5 for 3 years. Okay. And it was real interesting,
Okay, so that's actually you walking right into my next question. I was going to ask you, so now you've been over in the States teaching, and then now you're overseas. What is the difference that you've learned between international teaching and the children over there, as well as the kids over in the States?
It depends on
The similarities and the differences.
when I was teaching, working with ADDIC, I was teaching at the public school level. So it's public school. Listen, in the Middle East, they are cousins. They just on the date side of the family tree. So,
That's what I always say.
like, don't get it twisted. I'll never forget, my friend worked in an area called Banias, and she had sent me a picture that had RBG. And I was like, oh, what they know about revolutionary but gangster? She was like, nah. She was like, real Bedouin gangsters. I said, you know what? I said, I'm done.
Listen, it's universal. It's universal. Listen, we are more alike than different.
Really, we are. Really, we are. And so teaching in the public schools, as I said, I definitely pulled on my Title I experience. So like I was one of the few teachers that didn't have any classroom management issues. So, and they got
I just want to give you a shameless plug right now to my listeners and viewers. Guys, I'm telling you, the girl is sharp. She got the state, she got the international. You guys get her on your team. It's W's all day. You just winning. So, okay, continue. I'm sorry. So, as I told you guys, the resume is long. That's just the education side. So take all of that, because we got some more to unpack. You have your entrepreneur. Okay, so we got the educator out of the way. You're an entrepreneur, you're an author. So let's get into first your book.
Okay.
Your book, LMB. Guys, the book is awesome. If you have not copped it yet, it can be found on Amazon. The book is called Little Miss Bright Eyes. It's a beautiful story. What is the age range?
Oh, I would say it's all ages. I hate when people ask me that question. I know as a teacher, as an educator, that probably sounds like so horrible. Like, what's the readability? And I feel that it's a book that is relevant for all ages.
Fair enough. And I think before we get too deep, it would only be right to bring on a talented illustrator to partake in this conversation of how LMB, just because actually LMB was actually created in what year?
The first version came out. I don't even remember. What was that like?
I think like 2007, 2006. From what I recollect.
Yeah, so the first version was not even Little Miss Bright Eyes. It was Little Miss Blackie.
That's right. That's right. It was Little Miss Blackie. That's right. Okay. And then fast forward, I want to bring your illustrator on and kind of just guys unpack all of that. So I'm a bit biased to this artist that's coming on, guys. Libationz Conversationz. I welcome all of the talent and artistry, but this one right here is my favorite, top notch. This gentleman, this handsome young man, he is a very, very talented illustrator and cartoonist. I like to say, he'll correct me if I'm not correct. He's none other than my son, y'all, Jorge Betancourt, also known as SKETCHMII, the illustrator of LMB. How are you, sir?
I am good. Hello, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome to Libationz Conversationz. Do you have your libation today, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what is your libation of choice today?
Well, it's a universal drink called water.
All right. Hey, stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. That's right. All right. So, guys, we have the illustrator of LMB, and we just want to quickly unpack kind of how all this came to be. So, yes, you created sometime between 2005, 2007, we'll just say. Little Miss Blackie was the original version of the book. How did Little Miss Blackie evolve to Little Miss Bright Eyes, and how did all this come to be?
Okay, so, you and I, well, they don't know, but you and I have been Facebook friends for forever. And out of the blue, you sent me a message just to check up as as we would do from time to time. Mm-hmm. And you asked me about the book. And I was like, I don't know. I didn't track sales. And you were telling me about how Jorge was still drawing and how he was just, so amazing and everything. And you suggested that I send you the manuscript. And I did. And I remember getting Jorge's sketch and like really just being so overcome with emotion, because it was like he was inside my head and he had created the exactly what I wanted to get out. And it was his senior year of high school. And yeah, I was just like, yes, this is what I want. And can we draw up a contract, because I need him to illustrate this book and all LMB books going forward. And
And just to tie the story together, guys, I know we're kind of wrapping up. We actually met, as we mentioned earlier in the conversation, we met through the school system. My children were students of Samuel P. Massey, which is how we originally met. My son, Jorge, was displaying some kind of early learning curves and cues that we were noticing. And since he had came into the school system, and you don't mind me sharing this, do you, Jorge?
No, man.
Okay, I want to be respectful. But you know, when you recognize things, you know, you want to support your child and make them the best version of themselves. So, you know, we have been noticing some little things with speech and things of that nature. And Alexis actually was kind of the first, along with the team of Samuel P. Massey, laid the groundwork for us to get the help we need to what we later uncovered was autism. So that's how we connected. We then transitioned on to another school, go about our way, fast forward, as Alexis said, and then now here we are at LMB. So Jorge, and I really just kind of want to tie all that together since we're talking about education, special education, the book, and then we're going to get into your new business. So Jorge, as the illustrator, how did it feel to illustrate your first book?
It was pretty interesting. It was a new experience and introduction to something that I never really considered before, per se.
Mm-hmm. What you see when he shares his social media pages with you, when you check them out, you'll see the time and investment that's been put into his work. It's professional quality, it's flawless. Again, bias. I don't care.
Mm.
okay,
I
got to interject there, because we started working together on the illustrations his senior year of high school, you know, and the quality that he presented, as you said, was that of when people read the book and they get to his about me section and they're like, what? He was in high school when he did that? And I'm like, yeah, that's what we're working with. So it's not a biased opinion, it's a fact. He is an amazing professional. And I know he probably had a bit of a baptism by fire with me, being that, he would send me a sketch and I'd be like, okay, I like this, but change this and do this, so we were able to establish a really great rhythm and working relationship where, I had the pleasure of, because it's easy to go on Fiverr or Upwork or wherever and get illustrators. But for me, it was, I'm working with a young Black man who has amazing talent and who happens to have autism. But at the same time, this was a chance to make a statement in that Jorge is the prime example of when parents get out of their own way and out of their children's way and get out of what the world or what the society is saying their child has to do, and taps into their talent and fosters it. Jorge is a prime example of what comes out of it. I mean, and just look at his background.
There we go.
Yes.
So as you guys can see behind you, that's one of your drawings, right?
Yes, this is an old drawing.
So what is your artist name?
SKETCHMII, SKETCHMII.
Okay, and where can they find your work?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube by the same names. Keep it real simple.
There we go. That's right. Straight to the point. I like
Yep.
it. You're a fan first and foremost of Nintendo, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And most of the artwork that people will see, fan art.
Fan art, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm kind of hip, Jorge,
Yeah.
You trained her well. Jorge, you have trained her well.
Yep.
Foolery.
It's all good fun. That's how we do it here.
So, guys, as you can see, when you go to his page, you'll see a lot of Nintendo fan art because ultimately you would like to work for
Nintendo, yes.
Nintendo. What are some things, because I know you're trying to expand what you're doing and how you showcase your art. So what are some other things that you're working on to try to kind of move and push yourself in a new direction?
Make a few shirts or hats.
So you want to put your art on clothing?
Yes, to an extent, yes.
Yes. And there's so many more questions that I love to ask. Jorge, thank you so much for joining us today. I do want to ask you one thing. Talking to Alexis today, who's your former educator, who also helped you kind of in positioning yourself, which is, allowing you to partake in this journey of illustrating a book with her. From somebody that has grown up with a learning curve, disability, and has some challenges along the way. How has your art, as well as working on this project, kind of help mold you or shape you in a new direction?
Well, I would say the book helped add a little new culture into my art.
Okay.
The book, it delves into what more people should be talking about, accepting one another and not judging a book by its cover in a way, being diverse with your beliefs and making sure everybody's happy and living in togetherness
Yeah,
in a
and
way.
basically
Yes.
treating others as you would like to be treated.
Yes. No racism. Nope.
Yep, there we go. All is one.
Yep.
We are the world. That's right, Jorge.
Yep.
And look, Libations and Conversations, guys, that's what we're here for. We're about the people, the community, and just about, again, raising the frequency and spreading love. So I just want to thank both of you guys for joining me today. It has been a special treat and a pleasure. Jorge, thank you so much for sharing your art and your talent with us in the world. Alexis, thank you so much for just the love that you have and passion that you have for what you do that can only be a betterment for our children, and it is and has. You're doing some wonderful things. And lastly, before I let you go, we cannot forget to plug your new organization, which is called what?
Educating Everywhere.
And
That's
just give them a quick synopsis of what it's about and where to find LMB, the new org, all that good stuff.
So Educating Everywhere is a one-stop shop for parents and businesses and organizations that are looking for educational consulting, educational coaching, and tutoring services. We definitely specialize in working with children who have or potentially have learning barriers. The website is www.educatingeverywhere.com. And yeah, we're everywhere. For the book, the website where you can find coloring pages and some worksheets and links to buy the book is www.lmb.world. And yeah, you get to see more of Jorge's amazing illustrations, not just in the book, but with our coloring pages. But the book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble's websites.
And Jorge, tell the people where they can find you once more.
On Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, SKETCHMII with a MII instead of a ME.
Okay. And guys, again, thank you so much. LMB, please support it. Little Miss Bright Eyes, you can find it on Amazon. LMB World, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if all else fails, guys, you can also Google it and find it. But please support. It's a wonderful book. It's all about anti-bullying, treating others as you want to be treated, and just the story behind these two here is just a beautiful story within itself. I know Alexis and Jorge are promoting the book and on different podcasts, and Jorge's been on various speaking engagements. So if you'd like to have either one of them, invite them on your shows to come out and speak about LMB or Educating Everywhere, please tell them your girl Life sent you from Libationz and Conversations. We're all about supporting the community, guys, raising the frequencies, and just overall spreading love. It's a village movement, y'all. I thank you again so much for joining me, Alexis and Jorge. And please do not forget to tune in to Libationz and Conversations. Please drop us a line in the comments. Let us know what you thought of our debut show. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. Remember, stay true to you. Peace.